Are there any general actions or habits or processes or even, I guess, mental toolbox things that you can apply to any situation that warrants high performance that people can apply in any setting? Because I can imagine there's so much crossover between, for example, somebody performing at a high level in Goldman Sachs versus for the New York Yankees in terms of how the actual application of their expertise to the task at hand unfolds. So without, obviously you can't be overly prescriptive, but in terms of general considerations,
Yeah.
what's on the table?
Yeah, there's this one story that I love, and it also sticks out to me. We had a guy, he was 17 years old, taken in the draft right out of high school. And he was like the guy, right? Like in his area, like he never lost. He just was like the man. So he gets drafted by us, comes into spring training. And at spring training, we have all of our teams in the same place. And there's a sim game going on, and they put him in to pitch against AA and AAA hitters. Now, if you know baseball, you know that AA and AAA hitters don't miss. So if you're not on your shit, like it's not going to be good for you. I knew what they were doing. The pitching coaches were going to try and see how he dealt with adversity because up until this point, he'd really never failed. So what we think is going to happen happens. He just gets beat up a little bit. It's like double, triple, home run. I mean, he is just like defeat is written all over his face. They end up pulling him out. And after the game, he comes back to my office and he is like distraught. He's like, Lauren, like, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, that's never happened before. And I just was like, all right, hey, come sit down. Let's chat. And so I asked him, I said, what happened out there? And he's like, I actually don't remember. He's like, he's like, I feel like I like blacked out when I was out there, which to me, it's pretty in alignment with being a 17-year-old, just lacking some self-awareness and letting the moment kind of speed up on him and take over. And that's okay. It's not uncommon. He's right where he needs to be. So what I said is I was like, well, I want you to go watch video, but after every game, bullpen, anything like that, I want you to actually answer these 3 questions. Very simple, evaluative questions, which is what went well or what did I do well? What can I do better? And what did I learn? 3 really simple ones. I'm like, you can answer with 1 word, a page, whatever it feels right for that day. But what it's going to end up doing is we're going to increase our awareness post the moment. And as we increase our awareness, that awareness is going to start to draw near to the moment itself. And we'll also notice patterns of behavior in that way. So I gave him this task. He's like, okay. He kind of calmed down a little bit. Well, he leaves. The next day, we're in the cafeteria, and the cafeteria is packed. It's not a very big room, but it's packed. There's probably like 250 people in this room. And I'm at the front of the line, and he's all the way at the back, and the line would get kind of long. And he yells from the back of the line. He goes, hey, Lauren. And I swear to God, like everybody turned around. And I turned around, I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he goes, I did my journal exercises. And I'm like kind of cracking. I'm like, cool, man. That's awesome. Like, I'm glad you did. And then he goes, just kidding. And the whole cafeteria goes silent. I turn around, continue getting my food, have my lunch, and I go back to my office. And I shoot him a text and I said, hey, don't worry about, the journal exercises. I kid you not, within 2 minutes, he runs back to my office. And he's like, Lauren, like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, I'll do them. And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, you don't need to do them. Like, just do them if you're doing them for you, but don't do them for me. And he's like, no, Lauren, I'll do them for you. And I was like, you're not getting it. I said, I'm not your mom. I'm not your teacher. I'm not your sister. I said, I'm your mental performance coach. And I said, whether or not you choose to do your journal exercises, like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm going to go to sleep the same. I'm going to wake up the same and do my job at a high level the same way I did today. And he just continues to go, no, Laura, I'll do them for you. And I'm like, no. I'm like, here's the thing. If you don't do them for yourself, you're just wasting your time and effort. When you take responsibility for your own development, that's when you'll start to see a change. So remember, you came to me for the reason that you didn't perform the way you did and you didn't understand why. This will help you understand why. But I said, do not do it unless you do it for yourself. So he walks out, and that night I got a photo of his first journal entry, and every entry after that, he sent me a photo. And so the point of it is, if you don't take responsibility for your own performance, no one else will. It's not your coach's job. It's not your spouse's job. It's not your friend's job to make you better. It's your job. And when people come to me, I'm not going to teach a CEO how to CEO better than they already do. I am going to be able to direct them in a direction where they can begin to help themselves, but I can't do that for them. And so I think the point is that whoever's listening, it's about being able to take responsibility for your own development, because what keeps people average is not their ability, but their actions. And so once you begin to upgrade your actions, you'll be surprised at how your ability and outcomes follow.
And do you recommend for everybody listening that needs to do that work, it's the same 3 questions?
Yes, and I'll explain why. So I like to start with well, because our brain has a strong pull towards the negative naturally. And so I like to start with a well, because no matter how bad your situation is, there's always if you can find something good, even if it's, all right, well, this was an opportunity to exercise patience, even though it sucked. This was an opportunity to, sit in adversity, even though obviously I wish I didn't have to do this in the first place. If you can find something good and hunt the good stuff, you are flexing your optimistic muscle. And what we know is that people that are optimistic tend to perform better over long periods of time than people that aren't. And so number 1 is well. Number 2 is better, because no matter how good you are, there is always room to improve. And so I want to make sure that even though you have an excellent outcome, let's not allow that to create a blind spot to improvement. And then the third one is, what did you learn? I used to not like this one. It reminded me of school. Like, oh, what did you learn today? But I actually found that people like this the most, because they end up pulling out the biggest principle that they found, like that core principle that they learned from a certain moment, that then allows them to carry it through to the next. So those 3 questions are great ones. They're simple, they're easy to remember, and they begin to reveal not only patterns of behavior, but help to improve our awareness to the moment that we're in.